So really briefly, the campaign came about because last year when we heard that COP26 was going to be postponed, ourselves and some colleagues at Size of Wales and some others were going to be going to COP anyway. We started to talk to colleagues in the sector and realised that there was a really big demand for Wales to have a strong presence at COP26. And people felt it was a really important opportunity for leaders in Wales, in the UK and around the world to really hear that climate action has got broad support. So we got together with various partners, we had a couple of meetings and steering groups, and the idea for Climate Cymru was born. We were really, really lucky in the early days that the fantastic Blue Stag came on board to do some pro bono work for us, which is why we've got such a fabulous website, which I'll show you in a minute. So the two key things that we really wanted to do with Climate Cymru, one was to just demonstrate that there is broad support for climate action within Wales across the political spectrum, across rural and urban areas, across all age groups. There is real support for evidence-based climate action, and we wanted to use the campaign to just show that Wales supports climate action. Another thing we really wanted to do with the campaign was to collect people's perspectives and voices. What do they want from our leaders to make climate action a reality? And what do they want to protect? And really, we recognise that there's a lot of really good, excellent expert voices on climate action in Wales, but actually it's really important that if we're going to make the transformational change that we need, we're going to need everyone on board, and we're going to need voices from across different sectors, from across different parts of society to make sure that that happens. And I guess the third thing as well was that people wanted to showcase some of the good stuff that was already happening in Wales. And so this was really the origins of Climate Cymru, and we did a lot of work behind the scenes with partners. There's a steering group. The campaign sits under Stop Climate Chaos Cymru, and we're one of the members of that. But we recognised that we wanted to have kind of a new brand and something really exciting that would mean that people wanted to engage. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to quickly share my screen and just talk you through the website that launched last Monday, was it, Peter? Very recently. Can everyone see my screen? Maybe Liz, you have to get, and Jill, give me a thumbs up. Great. The people I can see. Okay, so the primary objective of the campaign at the moment is to collect as many voices as we can from across Wales. And we've tried to make that as simple as possible. So people just simply go to the website, the Add Your Voice section, and they click on Add Your Voice. I'm going to see if this works live now. My computer will go a little bit on the slow side. And then once people fill in their name, some basic details, they'll be taken through to a next page where they can either customize their own message, or they can choose from a pre-selected set of messages in terms of how they want to add their voice. I'm not going to go through that now because my computer's running a little bit slowly, but it's really simple and it only takes a few seconds to do. There's also other ways that people can get involved. So if I go back to the homepage, people can also get involved as partner organisations. We've already got, I think it's now over 70 partner organisations in Wales signed up, from international development organisations like Bees for Development. We've got a lot of housing associations signed up. We've got Cymru signed up as a homelessness umbrella charity, youth organisations. Really across the sector, we've got organisations signed up as partners. There's still opportunity for more partners to get involved. We've also got the opportunity for people to sign up as ambassadors. So if individuals are passionate about climate change, they can get involved, become ambassadors. They can try and amplify the message of Climate Cymru and get people across Wales signed up. We've also got a relatively new section on there around businesses. So businesses can sign up. We haven't pushed that very hard yet, but we're looking at developing partnerships with unions to try and encourage businesses to sign up, and also FSB, CBI. We've also got a few lovely features on the website to get people involved. We've got a big climate quiz. We've got reasons to be hopeful. We've made the links between climate change and nature, because we recognise that we also face a nature emergency, and that's been a really strong and important part of the campaign as well. I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute because there we are. So the website's super easy to navigate and add your voice. And what we're really looking for people to do is to get involved in the campaign. So we're asking people to add their voices as individuals, but also organisations to get involved as partners and individuals to sign up as ambassadors. I'm really determined that we hit the 50,000 voices, but we wanted to put in a bit of a shorter term target by the summer. So we've got a target of 10,000 voices. And when we hit 10,000 voices, we're going to send an ice sculpture to the Senedd to show our leaders in Wales how much we care about our climate. So there's a few things going to be taking place through the year. I think it's probably a good point for me to pause and just see if there are people who want to come in with questions or comments or things that they want to know about the campaign. Either in the chat or put your hand up and I'll have a look out. No one coming in with questions yet. Okay, no worries.
I have a question. Yeah. Sorry, really. I talk too much, so I think this is an opportunity for us to bring forward the Welsh message. Now, if someone have a kind of a crazy, innovative idea, could she come across to meet with you and to check in which way we can make it happen? Because the fear would be to go to Glasgow, to listen to the same message, the same speech, to see the same person coming with the same action and non-action, and then we will come back after 2 years, probably we will meet again somewhere, we will bring the same. So I think there is a way to bring some kind of innovative way to pass our message. So if someone, not someone, I got some ideas, but I want someone who could really have an interesting exchange debate to say, what can we do?
Yeah, so I think, so I should go on just what our plan is regarding COP26 itself is we've applied for a space at the Green Zone. I'm quite quietly confident that we'll be successful. And what we'll be doing with that space in the Green Zone, so we'll have a spot for the 2 weeks. And we would use that space to do a couple of things. One would be to showcase those voices that we'd collected in innovative ways. We've talked about, using data visualization and other opportunities. We'd connect people who can't physically come to COP to the event by live streaming, by holding live Q&As, but we would also give an opportunity to showcase partners and the work they're already doing around climate action on a rotating basis across the 2 weeks. So what I would say is if people want to help to shape the campaign, we are really open to people signing up as partners or ambassadors and getting involved in the steering group. So Norbert, to answer your question, if you want to get involved, we have steering group meetings. We're more than happy to welcome more people. This is really a collaborative campaign. It's not led by any one person. So, we're really open to people coming and bringing crazy ideas, good ideas, fun ideas for both how we collect the voices and then what we do at COP26. I guess the focus right now is while we wait to hear about our application, our focus right now is just trying to get the message out about Climate Cymru as widely as possible. And yeah, thank you in the chat. So XR Cymru are partners, but they also attend the steering group quite regularly as well. So, really encouraging people to get involved if they have an interest.
Hello, Susie.
Hello.
Yeah, so my name is Salamutu, and I am actually in that field of environment. I have done a course on climate change solutions, and I have really been thinking about how I can make an impact. I live in Bangor, and I've been thinking of how I can make an impact to mitigate against climate change impacts in the smallest ways and the simplest ways, and the ways that don't take people's time and energy and resources, let it just be like, part of a daily life without stress. So this is very important to me, because getting people involved to just sign the petition is something we can do. Coincidentally, I also chair the North Wales Africa Society. So there are many of us that I can get involved. So I am very, very positive that this is what I want to do. I have been thinking about it. So I am coming on board, and I'm coming on board with many other people. So yeah, I will sign up, and then I can get in touch with you after this session. Definitely.
Please.
And we can think about simple things we can do, even if it's just maybe a free Monday of not eating meat, something like that. We can do a campaign around that, just so that we can reduce some sort of emissions, from the farms or something like that. Just simple things that can contribute to our daily living. Yeah.
I mean, first of all, we'd be delighted to have you involved and getting involved in the campaign. That would be fantastic. And I think one of the things to say, a couple of things that came out when we were planning the campaign, is that there's quite a lot out there already where people are collecting pledges on climate action. So Welsh Government are collecting pledges from businesses. Quite a lot of organisations are collecting pledges from individuals. And one of the things we wanted to be really clear on with this campaign is absolutely we want to encourage everyone to play their part, but we also want to put the pressure back onto governments and say, listen, we are all trying to do our part, but actually with COP26, this is the time for leaders to set the framework for climate action, to make sure there aren't unnecessary barriers in place to us taking those actions, whether that's from food strategy through to housing, through to transport infrastructure. So I think that that's really important, that we want to take those voices and say to leaders, you have to take some responsibility for getting things in place. And the other thing I think is this thing about climate expertise. So I'm not a climate expert, and I think that that's really important, because there are fantastic recommendations out there. Some of our partners have given really strong recommendations on climate action. But actually, we should still be able to all have a voice in this, even if we don't have the expertise on climate change and what are the exact best changes to make. We all have our own individual experiences of trying to do the right thing. I mean, whether that's trying to go electric with a vehicle, whether that's trying to get your house insulated, there are all sorts of barriers in the way that we need to make sure governments hear. And I think that's the opportunity, is to get people to really collect those voices, so that we can say, listen, if you want to make this transformational change happen and bring people with you, these are the kinds of messages you need to be hearing.
Certainly, I agree with you, Susie. There are two ways here. So yes, it's good to have a collective of people talking to government, because everything boils down to policies and acts and things like that. Very, very important. And going to COP means also going under the Welsh government and having the Senate behind you is strong. But also with climate change, all of us have to be aware, and all of us have to be taking actions in the things we do or the things we don't do to ensure that we don't intensify or enhance the already impacts that are there. So there are two things that we must do. Yes, pushing the campaign, but also doing things in an intentional way, if you know what I mean. So let me shut up so that other people can talk.
Yeah, I know. I think they're really good points. And I think one of the things is, as we gather these voices, by the end of the year, hopefully we'll have a really strong network of people passionate about climate action. And that goes beyond COP. We have gathered that network and those voices together. We can then continue to work with those people beyond the end of COP, and I think that's really important as well. Okay, I'm looking out for other hands up or questions or. Don't be shy.
Susie, I've got my hand.
Oh, go on. Yeah, sorry.
I've got feedback. Sorry, I'm going to chime in then. I put my hand back down again. I just want to say that I really like the way you've kind of gamified the sign-ups by sending that like heart to the Senate. It sounds almost like you're making a difficult and challenging subject quite fun to participate in, so that's really nice to see and quite unusual as well. I like the idea. I was just wondering, and I can probably bring this to the steering group at some point in the future, but I was wondering if we could crowdsource some ideas for other milestones, or if you've already thought of some ideas around that, because I like that aspect of the campaign and the participation. So just wondering if you have any more ideas for it, or like other milestones to mark it.
So I think my first thing is I have to give all the credit to Blue Stag for the creativity in the campaign. They've been phenomenal in what they've sort of supported. And we've got partners' feedback, but I like the idea of crowdsourcing ideas. And I think, you know, the more creative ideas we can come up with, the better. I think ultimately we have to recognise the emergency, but we also have to make sure there's hope in the campaign. And I think that's been really important as well. And those sort of elements of fun, just genuinely trying to bring in some new audiences and get people sort of engaged in the campaign and the activity. But I think the idea of crowdsourcing, I should say we've got a small funding bid awaiting the outcome this month, which would appoint a coordinator just for the campaign, just so that they could do a bit more active coordination than I'm always able to manage around my day job. I think there was George, did you have your hand up as well?
Yes, hi. Just a question. I wanted to ask whether the voices that you're looking for are going to target specific COP7 principles that they have, or you want us to concentrate on all?
So it's a good question. We have the principle that we've gone with is that we want people to decide what they share. So rather than kind of directing people towards particular themes that have been pre-picked, that actually we want people to have an opportunity to share what they think is important. As it happens, a lot of the messages so far have come through on nature, which is one of the sort of one of the themes. But we do want to kind of give people the opportunity to focus on what they think is important. Does that answer your question, George?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, I'm checking for more blue hands, but also if you are trying to speak, you can unmute or put a question in the chat. Okay, we've got just a few minutes left. What I'd really like to do quickly is just, so Storm and Shelter also did a bit of pro bono work on the video working with Blue Stag. I want to just share the video that we've got, which I think is an inspiring note to finish on. While the video is playing, maybe just have a think and pop in the chat any questions that you have. But also it would be great to hear from participants if you're going to sign up yourself, if you're interested in signing up as partners, even if you just pop that in the chat and let me know. And then I'll share my contact details so you can get in touch after the session as well. So Peter, are you happy to share the video now?
Cool.
Thanks, Peter. That always makes me a bit goosebumpy and happy. So I'm just having one last check for hands up and in the chat and checking in the chat for questions. So yeah, I mean, my plea, I guess, to everyone here is that you add your voices as individuals in the first place. So please, if you haven't already, add your voice to the campaign. And if you're able to just share that opportunity to add voices with as many people as you possibly can, I would love it if we, smash the 50,000 and take this incredibly strong voice from Wales to COP26. But also, if you're happy to, if you're part of an organisation and want to sign up as partners, or if you're part of a business and want to sign up, or if as an individual you want to get involved as an ambassador, the information on how to do that is on the website, but you can also drop me an email. I've shared my email in the contact details there, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, one last check for questions, and I think that those are the key things that I wanted to share with you today. It's been really nice to have such a good turnout for the session.
Susie, so you're following and seeing the numbers of people that have signed up is already showing somewhere, right?
Yeah.
How many have you got now that have signed up?
So we've got 884 so far.
It's quite low.
We've only just launched, so we're really in the early stages of the campaign. We just we're going to start pushing it out. We're already going out through partners, but absolutely, we're in the really early stages of the campaign. So we're really keen to increase the numbers as quickly as possible. Look out for it on BBC in the next couple of weeks as well, BBC Wales. That will hopefully push the numbers up a bit as well.
Yeah, maybe we could, maybe I will give you some ideas. What ages are you looking at? Do you want school children, or it has to be, do you want school children?
Yeah, every age. So I should say as well, we're just working on, we've got a colleague at Size of Wales who's putting together a little education schools pack, so that we Keep Wales Tidy are one of the partners. We work with schools. I know you work with schools as well. So we're going to try and go through the partners to reach as many schools as possible. There's no age limit. It's not a petition. So there's no age limit on people adding their voices. But we also recognise that if you're a class teacher and you've got a primary school class, you're not going to want to go on and individually add every single voice. So we are looking at ways with Blue Stag on how we can collect those voices and add them to the number without, having to add one per child. So we're going to try and make that as easy as possible in the next couple of months.
Okay, Susie, I can talk to you outside of this meeting with some ideas that I've got. So
yeah, maybe we can get you along to the steering group. That would be fabulous.
Okay, I would give you my ideas. We'll see.
Fab.
I'm really interested in campaigning for climate change. So
Jill's point in the chat is also a really important one. So another organisation we've been really lucky with pro bono support, Grasshopper PR, have also come on board pro bono to support the campaign, and they have a particular specialism in engaging with communities non-digitally. So this isn't something we've done yet because we focused on the digital launch, but we are going to be looking at ways to get sign-ups from people who are not actually using the internet, or they wouldn't necessarily engage with the campaign online. So that's also going to be part of stuff we're going to do this year.
Fantastic.
Fab. Well, on that hopefully inspiring note, I'm really excited by the campaign. And I hope I've left you all feeling quite excited about the campaign and raring to get involved. But I think Peter's shared the feedback.
Yeah, so basically, thank you, Susie, and thank you to everyone who asked questions. We hope you've been inspired and that you get involved with Climate Cymru. But yeah, before we say goodbye, we really do value your feedback. So I've pasted links to English feedback and Gymraeg hefyd. So if you could please give us your views, we really appreciate it. And diolch yn fawr. Thank you very much. The next event, as Claire says, starts at 1 p.m. In about half an hour. So please register if you want to keep the momentum going with action on climate. Thank you.